is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time is 6:15. Is the news edited by Anjana Dodanguda, read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. The President says media must operate within respective countries' legal framework. The Prime Minister urges ADB to initiate projects on renewable energy, public transport and digitalization. USAID SLBC collaborate to empower businesses with innovative energy efficiency solutions. Cabinet approval for new China-funded housing project. More import restrictions to be relaxed next week. Foreign news, Kevin McCarthy ousted as U.S. House Speaker in historic vote. Sports news, Taruse breaks 25-year-old Asian records to win gold. Local news in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has emphasized that all media outlets, including social media, should engage in a discussion regarding whether to enter into international agreements or adhere to the respective countries' legal framework. He made these remarks during his attendance at the ceremony held at the Presidential Secretariat today in honor of the distinguished figure in Sri Lankan journalism, Edmund Ranasinghe, the founder, editor and editorial director of the Divina newspaper. Addressing the gathering, the head of state pointed out that the advent of the social media has led to a situation where some entities publish content according to their own whims, circumventing established regulations, and thus emphasized that media in any country must operate within the framework of its own laws. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, while thanking the Asian Development Bank for assistance provided to agriculture, rural, small and medium sectors and other development projects, has urged the regional funding agency to initiate new projects on areas such as renewable energy, digitalization and public transport systems, especially the railways. Prime Minister Gunawardena made this request during a meeting with ADB Country Director Takafumi Kadona at the Prime Minister's office in Colombo. The Prime Minister thanked the ADB for extending support to Sri Lanka for economic stabilization after the unprecedented economic crisis. In a joint initiative aimed at fostering energy efficiency among businesses and simplifying energy usage reporting, the USAID has partnered with the Sri Lanka Sustainable Energy Authority to unveil a groundbreaking tool. On the 14th of September, USAID, in collaboration with the SLBC through its Sri Lanka Energy Program, introduced the National Energy Benchmarking Portal in U.S. Embassy in Colombo, said in a press release. This innovative platform is designed to assist business in curbing electricity consumption by promoting efficient practices and conservation methods, thereby addressing the challenges posed by escalating energy costs. The launch of NEBP marks a significant step toward a more sustainable and energy-efficient future for business in Sri Lanka. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with more local news, the government is expected to relax import restrictions further. Speaking in Parliament, State Minister of Finance Jan Semasinghe said they are hoping to relax the remaining import restrictions other than on private vehicles next week. The State Minister said the amendments related to HS codes on vehicles used for public transport will be amended. He said necessary orders will be issued shortly. State Minister of Finance Hans Singh added that due to the restrictions on imports, the revenue of the Sri Lanka customs has reduced considerably. He said it also impacted the business activities and exports of small and medium-scale entrepreneurs. The State Minister said the relaxation of imports will help improve economic activity in the country. Veteran film director Somratna Dissanayake said SLBC always feels pulse of the nation's children at time other broadcasters forgetting kids. Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation dedicated Vidula Radio exclusively for children. Joining an event organized by SLBC today to mark for World Children's Day, the film director Dissanayake said he was influenced to make children's films due to SLBC. The chairman, SLBC, Hudson Samarasinghe, joining the event, said when he joined SLBC, he had also produced children's dramas. The chairman highly admired the services of Vidula Radio. A new orchestra was also introduced. That ends local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Veda.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe says he is prepared to consider alternative proposals to improve the country's economy. Speaking in Parliament, President Wickremesinghe said he is prepared to work with parliamentarians from both sides of the aisles. The President noted that all MPs should work together at this crucial juncture in order to strengthen the country's economy. The head of state said the time is apt to work under a common framework at a time the public is seeking relief and answers to their issues from Parliament. President Wickremesinghe is attending the Parliament session since 3 orders under the Ministry of Finance were scheduled to be debated today. That ends main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Veda.
Moving on to Watchlight, the Department of Railways has announced that the trains starting from Maligawatha Railway Yard are likely to experience some delays owing to a trade union action in protest of an assault incident. The situation arose as the railway controllers refused to go to the Maligawatha Railway Yard, citing safety concerns, following an alleged brawl between one of their co-workers and an employee of the yard. However, a discussion has been held in this regard between the railway authorities and the trade union representatives. That ends Watchlight. Moving on to world news, let's take a look at the headlines. Kevin McCarthy ousted as U.S. House Speaker in historic vote. At least 21 dead after Italian bus carrying tourists falls from Venice overpass. Pakistan orders Afghanistan asylum seekers out of country by November. World news in detail. A handful of Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives on Tuesday ousted Republican Speaker Kevin McCarthy as party infighting plunged Congress into further chaos just days after it narrowly averted a government shutdown. The 216 to 210 vote marked the first time in history that the House removed its leader, with 8 representatives voting with 208 Democrats to remove McCarthy. McCarthy told reporters he would not make another run for Speaker. The Republicans said they planned to meet on 10th of October to discuss possible McCarthy successors, with a vote on a new Speaker planned for 11th of October. Venice city officials said at least 21 people died on Tuesday and 18 were injured after a bus carrying tourists to a campground crashed off on overpass near Venice in northern Italy and caught fire. The bus veered off the road and fell close to railway lines in the district of Mestre, which is connected to Venice by a bridge. The cause of the accident was unclear. Venice City Councillor Renato Borazzo said on line of inquiry was that the driver, a 40-year-old Italian who was among those killed, had been taken ill before the crash. Pakistan's government has ordered all unauthorized Afghan asylum seekers, an estimated 1.7 million people, to leave the country by November. A spike in militant attacks along the two countries' borders this year has escalated tensions. Pakistan has blamed border crossing attacks on Afghanistan-based operatives, charges denied by the Taliban regime, but it has fueled resentment in Islamabad, which on Tuesday announced a crackdown on illegal migrants. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Kevin McCarthy ousted as U.S. Speaker in historic vote. At least 21 dead after Italian bus carrying tourists falls from Venice overpass. Pakistan orders Afghan asylum seekers out of country by November. That ends world news.
Development news.
Cabinet approval has been given to sign an agreement with the government of China for the construction of houses for low-income people within the Western Province. According to the government of China has given its consent to finance a grant of yuan 552 million to Sri Lanka for this project. Under the project, a total of 1,996 housing units will be constructed as assistance for the urban restoration project. The project will provide residents of low-facility housing schemes within the Western Province with houses in the urban housing schemes with facilities. As per the agreement, the government of Sri Lanka would be responsible for land development and supply of infrastructure facilities covering the site limit. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal submitted by the Minister of Urban Development and Housing to sign the agreement to the relevant project implementation with the Government of China. That came to you on Development News. Moving on to sports news. Breaking a 25-year-old Asian Athletic Championship record, Sri Lanka's star athlete Tharushi Karunaratne won the gold medal in the 800-meter women's event on the last day of the 25th Asian Athletic Championship 2023 today. Organized by the Asian Athletic Association, the tournament was held in Bangkok, Thailand, with the participation of athletes from 43 countries. Tharushi broke the record of 2 minutes 1.16 seconds set by Zhang Ziyan, China in 1998 after completing the 800-meter event in 2 minutes 0.66 seconds. Gayantika Abiratne, who competed alongside Tharushi, was placed third after finishing on 2 minutes 3.25 seconds. This is the second medal at the championship. Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka mixed relay team of Aruna Darshana, Tharushi, Kalinga Kumara and Nadisha Ramanayaka set a new national record of 3 minutes 15.41 seconds as they won the silver medal in the 4x400 meter mixed relay. That ends sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
A new project to promote science education in 50 schools has been launched by the Commercial Bank of Ceylon in collaboration with the National Science Foundation and the Science Branch of the Ministry of Education. Facilitated by a partnership agreement announced by the bank and the NSF earlier this year, the project is one of the series of initiatives supported by the bank to take science, technology, engineering and mathematics, or rather STEM education to schools across the country. That ends Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go එකක් තියන youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගින හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Moving on to economic news, the Sri Lankan rupee has marginally appreciated against the US dollar today. According to the exchange rates issued by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka this morning, the buying rate of the US dollar was 318 rupees and 10 cents, while the selling rate is 328 rupees and 91 cents. The indicative exchange rate announced by the Central Bank is 323 rupees and 76 cents, while it was as high as 362 rupees and 66 cents on the 24th of February. That ends economic news.
Weather report.
The prevailing showery condition in southwestern part of the island is expected to continue further. Showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the western, Sabragamu, southern and northwestern provinces and in Kandy and Nuwara districts. Fairly heavy showers above 75 mm can be expected at some places in the western, Sabragamu and southern provinces. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in eastern and Uva provinces and in the Polonnaruwa and Mullaitivu districts during the night. That ends weather report. To wrap up the evening news on Radio Sri Lanka, let's take a look at the headlines once again. The President says media must operate within respective countries' legal framework. The Prime Minister urges ADB to initiate projects on renewable energy, public transport and digitalization. USAID SLBC collaborated to empower business with innovative energy efficiency solution. Cabinet approval for new China-funded housing project. More import restrictions to be relaxed next week. Foreign news, Kevin McCarthy ousted as U.S. House Speaker in historic board. Sports news, Tarusi breaks 25-year-old Asian record to win gold. With that, we wrap up the evening news on Radio Sri Lanka. Back to my good friend at US, Romesh Parish.
Thank you, Victor. And that was Victor Raj with the main news bulletin this evening. And may I take this opportunity to wish Victor a pleasant evening, and do watch out for the wet conditions out there, and do take care. Have yourself a wonderful evening, Victor. And the time is just coming up to 32 minutes past 6 o'clock, and you're tuned to Radio Sri Lanka, and we are broadcasting on 97.4 and 97.6 FM island-wide, and on the web www.slbc.lk. From this point onwards, we are going to have a musical miscellany, nothing but the very best of music, very best in music, I should say, from the past and present. Coming up at 8:45 is the final news bulletin of the day, and at 9 o'clock it'll be Family Choice, and you can be part of the program by getting in touch with us on 2694316, that is 2694316, to be part of the program.